Hi, I'm Jamie Machik, Education Consultant for the Wisconsin Valley Library Service. For this digital bite, I'm going to be covering visual tips for presentations. Conference season, budget season is right around the corner, and there might be opportunities for you to create presentations. So what are some tips to make them look as nice as possible? Neuroscientists have discovered that an idea expressed in visual form is processed 60,000 times faster than the same information either printed or spoken. Wow. I do want to mention, though, that presentation aids or visual aids in a presentation should supplement you as the presenter. They shouldn't replace you. Let's go ahead and get started. If you are having trouble reading this screen, there is a reason for that. It says, here is some text that is hard to read. Don't make your audience work too hard. When it comes to creating visuals for a presentation, whether it's a PowerPoint or a video, you want to keep things simple. It doesn't have to be super flashy or crazy or utilizing all of this great technology. You are better off keeping it simple and easy to follow. Again, you are creating a supplement for your audience, and you don't want to make your audience work too hard as they are looking at your visuals. Here are some presentation tools. This is not an inclusive list. I have used several of these on your screen, and I still find myself coming back to PowerPoint or Google Slides. I have used Canva from time to time, especially to do video. So feel free to check out some of these on your own and see if they are a tool you might like to use. Let's talk about some general visual guidelines. Less is more. Your audience is processing a lot of information as you are speaking. So the less you share is almost better. You want to have X amount of slides for X minutes. This means if you have about a 30-minute presentation, you want more or less 30 slides. You want things moving in a decent pace, but you don't want things moving too quickly where your audience can't follow you. But you also want to move your visuals fast enough where your audience doesn't get bored. 6x6 rule means that you likely shouldn't have more than 6 bullet points on a slide and no more than 6 words per bullet point. We don't want to use as much text on our slides. We want to keep the font point at least 24 point, and this is for readability. More often than not, you will have more information than you want to share or can share. You are likely going to have a time limit on your presentation, and you can't share everything. That is the challenge to you as a presenter. You won't be able to share everything, so you have to decide what to share based on your time. You also want to vary your photos only with text on your screen, and this gives your audience a break in what they are seeing. The other thing that this does is give you some flexibility. So for example, here are 2 slides on your screen. The slide on the left only has a photo, whereas the slide on the right has a photo and bullet points. If I'm running out of time, the slide on the left gives me some more flexibility because I could maybe share 1 bullet point. If I'm using the slide on the right, then I kind of have to mention all of those things. So don't be afraid to vary up the look of your slides. There are many templates to choose when you are creating a presentation, and you need to stick to the theme. If you are creating a presentation regarding your library budget, you probably don't want to use a food theme template. You'd want to either use something basic and simple, maybe the colors in your library logo. So make sure your theme is consistent to the subject that you are presenting. Again, with colors, keep your theme consistent. In general, darker fonts should go on a light screen and lighter fonts should go on a dark screen. I don't use a lot of yellow or orange text, and in general, I avoid backgrounds in blue, red, purple, or green, again, for readability. Anytime we can use real library photos, it's always better than stock photos. However, stock photos have come a long way. The 5 sites listed on your screen are some examples of where you can find quality stock photos. For stock photos that are free, I think Pixabay and Unsplash are your best options. And always make sure you give your photos attribution. There are also many font options out there, and I encourage you to stick to simple, easy to read fonts. You can use a sans serif or a serif font. And the 6 listed on your screen are very good to use when you are giving a presentation. Along with text, again, skip the fancy handwriting fonts. Those are not easy to read. We also do not want to do all caps. It's not easy to read and it looks like we're yelling. And stick to 1 or 2 fonts. You can mix up a serif font with a non-serif font. That is perfectly okay. Diagrams and charts are excellent visuals and should be used when it's appropriate in your presentation. Now, the visual more here on the left is colorful and pretty to look at. However, it has too many triangles. The font is too small. I can't read it. I don't really understand it. And I don't know how I would even describe this to my audience. Whereas the chart down here on the lower right, not as colorful or fancy, but it gets the idea across a lot better and is much easier to read. Make sure if you are using a chart or a diagram that it is relevant and easy to read. I also don't encourage you to share links within your presentation. These aren't something your audience can click on, and they tend to look messy on the screen. You could include a resource page at the end of your presentation if you are sharing your slides. You also need to proofread your slides and your visuals for spelling and for slide organization and to make sure the photos are relevant. As I am working on a presentation, I find that I do a lot of slide duplication, and you have to remember to change the photos. Extra resources are always great to include in a presentation. Everybody likes more information. I think it's overwhelming for an audience to receive a list of resources of 20 to 30 things or 10 to 15 books to check out on that topic. I recommend sharing your top 5 resources, or instead of 10 books to read, what are your top 2 favorite? That way you won't overwhelm your audience. We have to keep accessibility in mind. Again, all of our fonts should be at a 24-point minimum. We need to use easy to read colors. If our presentations can have live captioning, especially in an online presentation, that is always ideal. Any video that we show to our audience should have captions, and we should also have alternate text on our photos. And if you are doing a presentation in Microsoft PowerPoint, it automatically can generate this for you. Keep in mind that a visual doesn't necessarily mean a presentation or a PowerPoint or a Google slide deck on your screen. You can utilize other visuals in your presentations. You could have a flip chart or have a whiteboard, have a drawing, collect ideas from the audience. I'm a big fan of role plays. It's a great way to get audience members involved. And I usually have them scripted ahead of time and given to an audience member so that person can take a look at it before we get into the role play. I do keep it short. You can also demonstrate objects in your presentation, and demonstrations are great. I think when Steve Jobs first rolled out the very first iPhone, he demonstrated how he could order things from his phone. And so he ordered like 200 coffees from Starbucks for his audience. While that might not be practical, think of if you are presenting something to your library board, or you're looking to advocate maybe for more equipment or more technology. Could there be a demonstration that you do that shows the value of that product? So those are my visual tips for presentations. I hope you found them helpful. If you have any ideas for a future digital bite, please let me know. Have a great day.